Hi there, my name is Marin Rai, and today I will be sharing with you guys how to combine text with the concat function in MS Excel and also through ampersand signs in the MS Excel. It's a beginner guide, so I hope you guys will have fun learning today. So let's just get started with our tutorial. Now, let's first begin by understanding what do we mean by combining text, right? So basically, what happens sometimes is that you find yourself in a position where you have to, combine the data from different cells into one cell. What do I mean by that is, you can see it in our example. In this particular example, for instance, we have our first names and we have our last names. In our column D, we have our full name where we have to, combine the first name and the last name. If an individual, or let's say if a beginner is unaware of this function concat, at that time, the first instinct will be to, to manually type rather and then space and then limbo. Right now, I understand that you can right away see the problem with this. The problem here is that you are not only in danger of misspelling the names, but at the same time, it is very time consuming. Now imagine if there were hundreds of classes and you had to do that for each and every individual. So it's going to take a lot of time. So at that time, we have this function called concat that comes to our rescue. It is worth mentioning that concat is only available in the latest versions of MS Excel. So if you are using older versions of MS Excel, it might not be available. And at the same time, if you're using Mac, even at that time, the function concat might not be available. But at that time, there's another function called concatenate that you can use as an alternative. Concatenate also works the same, but the only difference is that the concat is the latest version, and it is much more powerful. So let's begin. So as you might already know that whenever we are using any function in MS Excel, we always start with an equals to sign, and then we type in the initials of our function, and then we always press tab and not enter. Remember to always press tab or double click on the function instead of pressing enter, because MS Excel will not recognize when you are pressing enter while choosing the function. Now we simply select the cells that we want to combine. In our case, we want to combine our cell B2 and comma. We always use comma to differentiate the cells, and then we use C2, and then we press enter. Voila, you see, we get a text combined. But we have a slight problem here. We want space between Radha and Limbu. The first name and last name, we want a space. In order to do that, we need to tell Excel that there's a space between these two data. So how do we do that? We do that by using quotation marks, or let's say the double inverted commas in MS Excel. So, it's I will be using the formula bar to edit the formula because it's much more. I think it's much more easier here. So I always prefer editing my formulas in the formula bar. This you see this box. This box is known as the formula bar. Yeah. So what do I do next? You see, just after the comma in B2 and just before C2, I open my inverted comma, the double inverted comma, and then I press space to tell Excel that there's a space in between. I close it, and then I press comma again, and then I press enter. You see? Wow! Rather Limbo now has a space in between. So this is how you can combine text and also tell Excel that there are some additional addition to the data. Now, as you know, in MS Excel, we have this magic called fill handle that if we double click, it automatically fills the other blanks by just copying, or let's say by just using the formula used above. Now let's see email. It's very, it's really useful that concat can also be used to have emails, and it is very useful, especially if you are in an organization where you're responsible for data entry, or even in school administration, where the emails, they follow a certain pattern. So for instance, in my school, in our case, we have a roll number first, our name, and at the rate, and then our schools, what's that called, like schools.com, like school name and .com. So similarly, when you have this certain pattern to follow, concat is always your go-to tool. In our case, let's just say that we want a simple email called like this, radhalimbu@gmail.com. Now, if you are a beginner, obviously when you will be, manually typing this letter by letter, alphabet by alphabet, it's going to take you a lot of time. So instead of that, we simply use concat again. How do we do it? With an equals to sign, you press concat, and then you go rather, and then you comma, then you use comma. In this case, as you see, we do not want space here, so we directly select a last name. Now, comma. Now, we need to tell Excel that we want this additional data that is at the rate gmail.com. We want this data in this email section. Now, for that, what do? Like I said earlier, when we are telling Excel that there's something additional, we use double inverted commas. We start, or let's say we open a double inverted commas at the rate gmail.com. Now, stay tuned. Now, let's see what happens. Oh, wait a second. Oh, see, the problem here is that I did not close my inverted commas. Now, when you do not close your inverted comma, this is a problem that you see. So you simply go here again, you close your inverted commas, and then there you go. You see, now you have your emails written just the way you want it. Now you use the fill handle to copy the formula. Now, just a little problem that we face here is that, in the desired outcome was that we wanted our data to be in lower cases. But in our case, the initials of the first and the last name is shown in capital letters. So we can also fix this. Now, this is like a bonus tip for you, like a bonus trick. This is another function in Excel that is called lower, that we can use to actually, to have lower cases, or let's say lower letters throughout the formula. So for that, what you do is that you simply type, just before concat, you start typing, you start to type lower. You can see, you can double click on it, or you can just press tab, and then you close the function. And when you do that, there you go. The entire thing is now in lowercase. Now you again use a fill handle, and there you go. That everything is now in lowercase. Similar to lowercase, there's also this function called uppercase that you can do to have all the all the alphabets and capital letters. So yeah, this is it. I will be sharing with you guys how to use ampersand. Ampersand is basically the sign, the and sign. If you don't know, this is the sign that we use to combine the text. It's similar to concat, but it's just that it's an alternative. When you are not feeling to use a function, you can also use ampersand sign at that time. But for that, I will be making another video, part 2 of this, where you can learn about it. So that is it. I hope I was able to help somebody today, and I hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned for part 2. And if you have seen my video till here, I would like to tell you that you have just witnessed my first ever video on YouTube. I just hope that you are having a good day then. Yeah. Good day, have a nice day, and stay safe.